Welcome to another episode of the Positively Insane Podcast. This is Kevin Alexander. I will be your Positively Insane Podcast host for the next 15 minutes of your life. Thank you for tuning in. This is Staying Positive, part 2 of 2. I ran out of time on the last episode before I really had a chance to get too in-depth about anything. And I felt like I needed another 15 minutes to really get into this because it's important. And I don't really think I covered a lot of the topics and a lot of the things I wanted to cover in the last episode. So I'm going to get a little more detail-oriented in this one and really try to narrow in on, really try to hone in on the things that people can do in their daily life. I talked a little bit about focusing less on the negative. That's obvious, focusing a lot more about on the positive, especially in your social media, routines and your daily fucking life. Devoting less time to the negative people and influences in your life, focusing less on the negative thoughts. That's a very big important thing. We'll get more in detail on that here in a minute. Focusing more on positive people and the positive thoughts. And I was just at the end of the last episode trying to get into how when you're at the top of a mountain and you're overwhelmed with inspiration and the beauty and the zen you find up there and all the things that you feel when you're at the top of a mountain staring at the natural beauty around you, you brought all that with you. You didn't discover it up there. You didn't find it in a treasure chest at the top of that mountain. You brought it with you. And you can experience this same sort of thing anywhere in life, anywhere in your day-to-day, you just have to be willing to see that same kind of beauty in other parts of your life, whether it's something your children do, whether it's random acts of kindness that you witness other people doing, random acts of kindness that you yourself are doing. They're little things, little stories that you see on social media, positive things, little, maybe you're reading a book, then something nice happened. And if you can figure out how to feel the way you feel on the top of a mountain as often as you can, it's going to be a dramatic help, a dramatic improvement in your mental health, your state of positivity, all of that, because those beautiful things are all around you. When the weather is decent, go outside and look at the stars. Go outside and look at the moon as often as you can. I swear to God, that has been such a huge thing for me, going out and looking at the moon and the stars. The last couple of years, we've had some amazing super moons. And if you get a chance to go out and witness those, because they're mind-blowing moments. They're beautiful conversations that the universe is trying to have with you, and you really need to get out there and experience those. But let me get down to the bare bones here. Foster optimism. That's a really important thing that people don't do. It's focusing on the positive and less on the negative, but we can call it fostering optimism here is a term that psychologists are using and shit like that. And one of the things you can do, I think I'm messing up my stuff here. Hold on real quick. I got to figure out. All right, and I'm back. I jacked up on my stuff, but I think we're good to go. Fostering optimism. Write down a positive future. What is the future that you envision for yourself? What is the future that you want for yourself? Write down your positive future. Don't write down what you think is going to happen, what you expect to happen. Write down what you want to happen. And dedicate some time to this. Get as detailed as possible. Write down where you want to be and how you want to get there. And, leading psychologist recommends doing this, for 20 minutes a day for 4 consecutive days. Really get into it. Really get detailed on the future you envision for yourself and your children. because that is such an important thing. When you write down not just your goals, not just your dreams, but the state of positivity, the state of happiness, the state of zen that you hope to achieve in your future. Write it all down. It's important to write that down, and then keep it somewhere where you can actively view it. Put it next to the goals you want to achieve. Because this is kind of a goal too. It's your life goal, not just your career goals or goals for next month or any of that. This is your life goal. Where do you want to be in 5 to 10 years? Spiritually wise. What do you want to be emotionally wise? All these things. Where do you see yourself? Where do you want to see yourself in the positive future that you envision, that you would like to have? And find the silver lining in things. That's like I mentioned that a little bit in the last episode. There's always a silver lining to things. Always a silver lining to things. And you just have to develop the skills to find these such silver linings. Simple ways of discovering silver linings are, for me, the biggest one is, what have I learned from this situation? That's a big thing. Have I gained any wisdom that I can take into the future? Because for me, there's always a lesson to be learned in every situation. Every repeated negative cycle you've been through, there's a reason why these cycles keep repeating, because you need to learn some lessons that you haven't been learning, that you haven't been acknowledging, that you have not been paying attention to, and that's why the cycle keeps going over and over and over again, because subconsciously you yourself are trying to tell you, hey, you got to change this. You got to learn something here. And you've just not been doing it for whatever reason. And so that's a huge part of it. Another silver lining is, have your relationships gotten stronger because of this negative situation? Now, maybe not your personal romantic relationship, but maybe your relationship with your best friend has gotten better. Maybe your relationship with your mother or your father or your siblings have gotten better. There may be relationships that have gotten stronger because of these negative situations. And if not, that's fine. There's always other types of silver linings. Like I said, lessons to have been learned. A few other silver linings to find is are you proud of how you handled the situation? Even if the situation was awful and, maybe there wasn't much to be learned in it, and maybe, your relationships weren't strengthened because of it. Are you proud of what you did, throughout those are you proud of how you handled it? Because that is a huge part of being positive, is being able to be proud in the way that you accomplished something, or the way that you handled something, or the actions that you took, because somebody, or because of something happening. You didn't let somebody bring you down to their level. You didn't let somebody, push you into doing something that you didn't want to do, that made you, less happy about who you were. You stuck your ground, you drew the line in the sand, and you fucking toughed it out, and you stuck to your morals, and that's always something to be positive about. One of the other things that, for me, has been a huge boost, a huge help in remaining as positive as possible, is I started not just being positive to other people, but I started doing positive things. I started helping people out where I could help them out. I started trying to offer, a kind ear, when somebody needed somebody to talk to, and I have excellent advice, and I try to give advice as often as I possibly can that I feel is fitting to the situation, that I feel is actually helpful to the situation, and I'm not just telling somebody what they want to hear, but I'm actually being helpful in some way, hopefully helping this person grow. When I was in the homeless shelter last year, I spent a lot of that time talking to other people in the shelter who, to me, were clearly suffering a lot worse than I was. They had nobody to talk to. They had some very obviously, negative emotions going on. And when I saw somebody struggling like that, usually during lunch or dinner or something, I would sit down and just strike up a conversation with them. I did that with one of my roommates who was clearly suffering. When he came in, when he first moved into the room, he just came in with this this overbearing, oppressive, aura. Like, just, he was so negative and he was so oppressive, and he was just, I instantly disliked the guy. He bothered me. He just, it was so much. He was just too intense, and it was too negative. And, I listened to a couple of the conversations he was having with his girlfriend, and I thought he was a jealous psycho freak, and I just didn't understand. I didn't like the guy. Then it turns out, a week later, I just decided to talk to him. And I found out that he was so much like me in this relationship that he was in. He wasn't such the psycho jealous freak that I thought he was. He was in a relationship just like me. And I realized, I understood we had all this shit in common. He was probably 10, 15 years older than me, but we just clicked, and I made a new friend, and we went around job searching, together, and we helped each other build each other up, and had a kind of somewhat of a support system in there. And I did that a lot, for people in that shelter. And as when I left the shelter, I try to continue to do that a lot through social media. I find that the more I help other people, the more positive I am in my life, because I feel good about myself. I feel good about what I'm doing. And it all lends to that aura of positivity that, it's impossible to deny. Another thing, doing positive things, another thing is being grateful, practicing gratitude. Think about the things that you're grateful for in your life. Write those down as well. You keep a gratitude journal. For every time, no matter how small it is or how big it is, every time something happens, you're like, God, I'm glad that I'm grateful for this person. I'm grateful for my mom or my dad or my brother or my sister or my best friend, or this podcast I'm listening to, or, something I read online. I'm grateful for something my daughter said to me. I'm grateful for my daughter's teacher. Whatever it is you're grateful for, write that down and keep a list of those. Never, ever write the negative shit down. Never, ever. Only the positive things. Write down the positive things, the things you're grateful for, and maintain that gratitude journal. And also, the things tell the people you're grateful for. Tell them you're grateful. Go out of your way to say thank you. What you just said, or what you've done, or what you've been doing has been such a help to me, and it has boosted my morale, and I just want you to know that it's been. I'm thankful, and by telling these people and seeing their reaction, it all fosters, and the aura of positivity, and it all makes things better, and it all comes together. And instead of being a festering, boiling pit of negativity, all of these activities foster and support positivity. And I'm promising you, they all come together, and they'll make your day a better day. I promise. And there's just, I could go on for another 15 minutes, but I think 2 episodes is probably long enough. But one of the biggest key factors I want to end on is beware of negative self-thinking. Beware of the negative things that you think about yourself. You see, when you start going down that path, when you start thinking bad things about yourself, as soon as you recognize what you're doing, stop. Stop immediately. Do whatever you can to distract yourself. Watch TV, read a book. Stop that negative thinking immediately, and try to turn that around. Immediately say something positive about yourself. Immediately go to your gratitude journal and write something positive down in there. Immediately go to your positive future goals and focus on those. Stop that negative thinking every chance you get, because that's a positivity killer, I'm telling you. And you got to nip that in the bud. Nip that in the bud immediately. And if you ever need somebody to talk to, I don't care if you know me or not, hit me up on Facebook, Jasmine the Destroyer. Hit me up in email, the positivelyinsanepodcast@gmail.com. Find me on Twitter, PositivelyIPC. I'm looking for friends. I'm looking to make new family. Hit me up. I'm always here to talk. I'm always positive, and I'm looking to